What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Hybrid Movies episode 20. I'm your host, Nick, and I'm joined, as always, by Michael, aka Farewell34.
What a dooski, guys. Glad to be here on another episode. Episode 20. I can't believe that. Wow.
Yeah, this is a pretty... Yeah, we made it actually fairly decently so far. And we also have Antoine, aka Earth Eagle GT.
20 episodes deep. Going for 20 more. Let's go.
No, 80 more.
80 more.
Yeah, and last but not least, we have James with us.
Dilio Neighborinos. It is great to be here on our 20th episode.
Yeah, and Luke couldn't join us because he's on a cruise right now. Is that correct?
Yeah, he's celebrating his graduation, so congrats to him.
Yeah. Leave a comment. Hashtag where's Luke? Or Luke's on a boat. Either one. It's good. But how is everyone doing today before we get into this? This is a little bit earlier recording. Michael, what's new with you?
Nothing much. I just checked out a movie last night, and I thought I would just take this Saturday just to relax and just chill out, play some Injustice, and talk about some movies with you guys. That's about it.
Yeah, how's Injustice so far? Is there a lot of people on that?
There's a lot of people playing it. It's honestly a ton of fun. I'm enjoying it more so than I thought I would. I heard the campaign is really good. I haven't started that yet, but just the actual gameplay is really fun.
Okay, cool. James, anything with you?
Nothing too much. I'm just real glad I don't have to work today.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to be taking my family to the theater today, though. I'm taking them to go see Guardians 2, because they haven't seen it.
Sounds cool. Antoine, any new updates from you?
I know I kind of talked about last episode just waiting on internships, and I heard back from a bunch, so I'm just excited to that next chapter. So definitely going out to California and doing some stuff with that.
Yeah, like Warner Brothers. They're like, hey, we want you to be on.
Yeah, these guys know a little bit more about it, and I can't talk about that much on the video, but it's some cool stuff. So.
Okay,
hey,
cool.
Yeah. Good to hear, man. Nick, how about you?
Today I went to my comic shop and spent an obscene amount of money on Magic the Gathering cards for some reason. I don't.
Wow.
An irresponsible amount?
Yeah.
Hey, that's what's up.
I mean, I don't know. Like, I like the game. I used to play it like a ton back in the day. Well, not back in the day. I mean, like a year ago. But I just kind of, I have periods where like I'll stop playing. There's a set that comes out. I'm not really interested in it, but I figured I'll come back and buy some cards and stuff. I mean, the good thing about stuff like this is, it's the same thing with comics too. Like, sometimes there is value to it. So, like, say you drop like $100, maybe you can invest, roughly the same amount or more on a good occasion. So, it's not entirely a money pit, I would say.
Okay.
So, but that's about it with me. I don't think I've really been up to much, not in terms of seeing anything. I'm going to see Alien again Sunday, so as of this recording I'll have seen it again yesterday. That'll be my third viewing of the film, so looking forward to it again. And this time in IMAX too, because I was actually lucky enough they are playing it in 2D IMAX in my local theater, so I can't wait to see it in that format. But with that said, I think that's a good segue into our first segment where we talk about movies that we recently saw. And I think everyone on this podcast has now seen Alien Covenant. I talked about it a couple episodes back. I talked about it. But now that you guys have seen it, Michael, what are your first thoughts on the film? Just kind of overall, summary and stuff.
So, Alien Covenant, everyone's been talking about it recently. The trailers I was really into. And after watching it, I feel mixed because I actually really like certain elements and themes and characters in the film. For example, some of the androids that they introduce in the film, really like those aspects. Some of the other things like the crew and the actual aliens, weirdly enough, I wasn't as interested in those aspects. And I think one of the problems I had with this movie, I think it tried to be two different films and cater both audiences, like the hardcore Alien fans and then also those people who like Prometheus and that kind of lore. Mm-hmm. And I think in the midst of doing that juggling act, it kind of, I think, didn't make one great movie. Although I still liked it, I think that it could have been better, but that's just what I thought on it.
No, I guess I'll just go quickly too. Again, just bouncing off that, I think that it's definitely a shame that you could tell in like certain interviews recently that really tried to I guess people didn't like Prometheus because there was no alien in it, so I'm just gonna throw the alien in. That'll make the movie better somehow. But I don't know what I don't know where he was looking, because he says, "Oh, I saw the response on social media. People were like, I like the movie, but but," and I'm like, well, whose responses are you looking at? Like the casual people? Because I don't think any fan of the franchise was upset that there was no alien, and I think it was just more so the script and pacing and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't know. It definitely, when you actually look at Alien Covenant, though, it is very much a Prometheus sequel for the most part, I think. So.
No, definitely, because I'm looking at some other people's responses, and they're like, I liked all the Michael Fassbender stuff and what they did with that. It was, I think, the other stuff, like you mentioned, like some of the alien things, I wasn't as engaged as much as I wish I was.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Antoine, any thoughts on the movie?
Yeah, just, piggybacking off of YouTube, it kind of felt like it was definitely a Prometheus sequel, but at the same time, he was, like, burying Prometheus with, like, I don't know, I'm not going to spoil anything, but, like, It in a weird way, like, he's trying to eventually come back to where the original movie started off. Yeah. And I know, like, he already leaked the title of, like, what the next film's going to be, or it leaked by itself. But it kind of, I don't know, it felt like, honestly, this was the best looking Alien film, like, recent years. I'm not going to, like, those old films, like, these are two different, like, things. But out of, like, him connecting it to how the original felt, I felt like this Ridley Scott really did his thing on this, just visually looking. Mm-hmm. But besides that, I thought some of the characters were really likable. Some I felt like they were making a lot of dumb decisions. like a lot of just like dumb decisions. And but besides that, I enjoyed Prometheus a lot. So I would not like I watched Prometheus before the original films, so I have a different like perception of that. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. I think after what you just said, I think I would have much rather him just continue in the Prometheus lore instead of like connecting it back to aliens. Even though I get people like that too, but I don't know. It kind of, I don't know. It felt kind of weird to me that like how he went from that film to this film.
Yeah, it's definitely a mishmash of stuff. But James, what do you think of the movie?
I mean, overall, I liked it, but holy crap, are some of these characters just dumb. Like particularly the captain. Like, so without spoiling everything, so there's a certain scene where the captain and David, they're in a room together, and David tells the captain to do something, and I can tell you when that scene happened, like everybody in my screening just laughed. Like, really? Is this happening?
I think my theater had like one or two of those moments too, and I don't know. I think it might have been one for that scene, and then like another one. Actually, I can't really talk about it, but it was It was a provocative scene.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Exactly.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, but honestly, I think the biggest like surprise character-wise for me was I really liked Danny McBride's character. Yeah. I thought he was really cool. He seemed like a guy where, he'll make some questionable decisions, but at the same time, he seems pretty level-headed and like knows what he's doing. Like, honestly, he probably should have been the captain. But I think the best aspect, honestly, is with David, and I think this movie probably should have been just pretty much all about David and sort of his journey to the engineer's planet and what he did. Because like the stuff that they do show, I thought was really fascinating. Just like what he's doing, like with all these experiments.
Oh, definitely. That's where I was really like really intrigued and like wanted to like watch more of. Mm-hmm. At least.
Yeah, but I think this is a movie where it's got conflicting identities. Where, like, is this an alien movie? Is this more on the lines of Prometheus? I think that's where it gets kind of lost. And I don't know if it was entirely Ridley Scott's fault or if he just had some incompetent writers. I'm not sure what the deal was, but I mean, overall, I don't think it was bad per se. It's just kind of more misguided as to what it wants to be.
I feel like if whatever Ridley Scott about saying like the Twitter posts and like having him change his mind, I feel like originally the original Prometheus sequel would have been just like them going to the home world. Yeah, David and Elizabeth Shaw just going to the home world. Because that's how it felt like the second. I mean, Prometheus was ending off. Like that's how it really felt like they were going to do. and it just, to me, it felt weird that like, yeah, that's what. Never mind. I'm not gonna say it, but like,
Yeah.
it's just it's weird.
Yeah. Also how the aliens behave seems kind of strange because I remember, like, you know, from the original Alien movies, you know, they behave more like insects, but it seems like here in this one, like they behave more like, well, because it seems like David has some sort of influence on them, and I'm kind of confused as to how that works.
Mm-hmm. He's the alien whisperer. He's able to talk to them.
I guess.
It's one of the many languages he knows.
Yeah.
I think the last thing I just want to mention on it is some of the deleted scenes. I know Nick and I have talked about that before, because some of them are on YouTube, like the prologues.
Yeah.
Wait,
I really wish I saw
that's
those
not a
in the
deleted
movie.
scene, that's just a marketing thing.
Sorry, just like marketing stuff. Yeah. I really wish those, like the crew coming together and, you know, bonding. I wish we saw those in the movie, so we could actually, you know, understand the characters a little more, some of their dynamics, and understand them
more. Yeah.
You know, the one with Shaw and David was actually part of the movie originally, but that was taken out for some reason. I don't know why. But yeah, I think my final thoughts, just to recap, the movie had an issue of trying to say big things and explore higher concepts, but at the same time, it was still had the same tropes of a B movie slasher film, which is kind of like, oh, you know, but I like it a lot though. So I'm really, it feels a lot like where Prometheus 2 had a lot of deleted scenes and stuff. The editing was kind of weird. So I'm sure that there's going to be hopefully some good stuff on the Blu-ray, so you can check that out. Moving on to the movies coming out this upcoming Friday, we have Baywatch, Pirates of the Caribbean 5, and War Machine on Netflix. So actually, out of the three movies, I'm looking most forward to War Machine because it looks really cool from the trailers and stuff. And Brad Pitt, always a great character actor. Michael, what are you looking forward to?
I haven't seen the trailer for that Netflix one, but I'm probably going to check out Baywatch just because I haven't seen the last Pirates of the Caribbean, and I would have to rewatch some of them, and I probably don't have the time to do that. So I'm looking forward to see what they're going to do with Baywatch and see how that ends up, because I did watch a little bit of it a long time ago, like the previous stuff in Baywatch. So.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully with Baywatch, hopefully it ends up being a surprise gem like 21 Jump Street was.
Yeah.
Because I remember before I saw that movie, I was like, this looks kind of weird or dumb, but I saw the movie, I'm like, wow, that's actually pretty good. And then 22 Jump Street was good too. But James, anything you're looking forward to?
Honestly, I'm really curious about Pirates of the Caribbean 5.
Okay.
Because from what I'm hearing, if I'm correct, they say that this is actually a really solid entry in the Pirates series. Because I know a lot of people are kind of mixed of like the movies in between, like particularly like 3 and 4. But from what I hear, like 5 is like a kind of like a return to form of the first one. So I'm kind of excited, and I'll probably also go see Baywatch as well, and see how that how that turns out.
All right, cool, awesome. Antoine, what are you looking forward to?
Honestly, the Netflix movie with Brad Pitt, I think I'm the most interested in.
Yeah.
Just because I feel like it's been a little while since Brad Pitt's been in a movie, at least in the lead. I can't really think of the last one.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. What was he in?
He was in
something.
Allied, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, yes, that's right. And I think it also, just for Netflix standpoint, they're getting bigger stars. They have this, and then the movie with Will Smith later. So I want to see what they're doing with like these big budgets now for these feature-length films. So I think that's, I'm most interested in seeing that one.
All right, cool, awesome. Leave your own thoughts in the comment section below. What movie are you guys looking forward to check out May 26th? So I think that wraps up our movie talk segment. Let's get into the movie news that we had for the week. So Sony Pictures decided to drop some pretty crazy news regarding the Venom film that's coming out next October. They said that Tom Hardy has been cast as Eddie Brock, aka Venom, and that the director of Zombieland is going to helm the project. So, Michael, what was your initial reaction to hearing the news of this package deal?
honestly, I thought it was a meme. Like, I thought people were just on Twitter just making a joke or something. And then after I started looking at the reports and who was saying it, and then I saw Sony tweeted themselves confirming, like, not only that Tom Hardy will be playing Eddie Brock, Venom, but it'll be still coming out the October 2018 date. I was, like, shocked. Because I think that's, on one hand, phenomenal casting. But on the second is, like, damn, like, Sony's serious about this. Like, they're balls deep.
Yeah, it said Sony's Marvel Universe in the tweet.
Yeah, pretty much, man. So
SMU.
Like, I'm still kind of like, I think I like the idea that, you know, they're serious, they got Tom Hardy, and I actually kind of would like to see an R-rated Venom, but, like, also in the back of my head, I'm like, Sony, let's see how this goes. But I think, if anything, this wins me over a little bit more on their plans, so I just hope it gets executed well and ends up being good. What about you, Nick?
Yeah, I think I'm right there with you. I'm really looking for. I mean, before, like, the announcement of Tom Hardy, I was just interested in the concept of the movie, because I think that another reason why it's coming out next year, like, it seems like a pretty decent turnaround. I think they're trying to film it by the fall of this year so they can have it out next October. But I think hopefully they're going to keep it, like, relatively low budget, just kind of a smaller film, kind of like Deadpool. And Logan cost more, but it had that kind of feeling to it. It was very small scale, intimate movie. But I really hope that Venom is like that. Tom Hardy, I think, is fantastic. I'm really curious to see how they're going to explore Eddie Brock as a character in a world without a Spider-Man, as far as we know so far. And yeah, the director of Zombieland, I think he'll do a pretty good job. It's with the material and everything, so I'm looking forward to it. James, any thoughts?
Honestly, I thought they had given up with the whole Venom project. I thought, after Spider-Man 3, we're going to work on a Venom movie, and, like, that never materialized. And then by that time, you know, I think a lot of people just moved on from Sony and have focused more on, Marvel Studios and 20th Century Fox. And then all of a sudden Sony's like, "Hey guys, we're still getting Venom. Don't you guys want to see it?" And it's just like, "Oh, you're still working on it?"
Yeah, like, I think that's how almost everybody was.
But I mean, I think Tom Hardy can do Venom justice. I mean, I think he's got the build for Venom. Because looking at the original comics, like, Venom's like a pretty bulky guy. But yeah, I think it's a pretty solid choice, and I like the director of Zombieland. So now all we just need are some pretty decent writers, and we got ourselves a pretty good movie.
Yeah, I agree, definitely. Antoine, any thoughts on the Venom project?
Yeah, my initial thoughts were just kind of like, what? I didn't think. I was surprised that this was a thing. It really caught me off guard, and especially Tom Hardy being a part of it. I just didn't know what to, like, feel. Of course, I think everyone's worried about this because Sony's known of, like, putting their industry hands too deep into, like, their properties, and, like, especially, like, messing with the writing and directing a lot of the time. Which is what happened with Spider-Man 2 and then Spider-Man 3. So, I mean, or Amazing Spider-Man 2 and Spider-Man 3. So I'm not hopeful, but I'll still watch it. Yeah, I didn't even think of this until Nick said it. I just assumed that this would still kind of be linked with, like, the Disney Marvel universe. But if this is its own separate thing, yeah, where's Spider-Man? like, is he just not going to be involved with this? Like,
yeah.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, too, because usually the origin of the symbiote is that Spider-Man has it first, and then Eddie Brock gets it in the church thing or whatever. So, I'm wondering how they're going to do the whole symbiote origin without Spider-Man having the black suit and whatnot.
Now imagine they pull some retcon shit, or it's like, TASM Spider-Man 2 is dead, but there was a secret story that we never saw where he had the black suit, and then they kind of just reference Spider-Man, but he's dead or something.
Wow, no. That's too smart.
Yeah, I know. And also, just on a side note, I hope they do, like, the Ultimate Venom, where it's a huge kind of, like, scary kind of monster, like you mentioned, is also going to be R-rated, so I hope they go with that route.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, oh man, I'm trying to think, like, Venom movie, yeah, it's like, it's just like, I really hope that they do something interesting with it and not just make it like just a straight up action movie or whatever, what have you. Like, there's just so much, like, psychologically they could do with it. Like, it could almost be just like there's this really cool short film that Adi Shankar produced. It's called Truth in Journalism. It came out like a few years ago. Like,
Yeah.
that was really interesting because it was like Eddie Brock, like it was like a day in the life of Eddie Brock, just like being this like sleazy kind of slimeball of a reporter, like going into crime scenes, like watching someone die and then like taking pictures of him and stuff for their story. And it just, they could do something like that, like not so much just be like, oh, it's like this big creepy monster or whatever. Like, I don't know, they could just do something really interesting with it that I think that has the potential to be not only a good superhero movie but like a good movie in general, much like I
kind of like Nightcrawler.
Yeah,
like,
exactly, like that. Yeah, something like that. Like, kind of like, I don't know, there's those certain comic movies that like transcend the genre. Like, this could be one of them if it's done right. But I mean, I don't know, I feel like I'm giving Sony way too much credit. This is Sony. I keep my expectations very low. So
no, Nick's ideas on this. Like, if we're to get anything close to that, man, like, everyone would just be amazed by the home run they could get with that.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, those are my thoughts on it. Any other final thoughts though on the Venom project?
I think the scariest thing is just like no one knows what the story is going to be. like I don't even know what they'd even talk about in a Venom standalone film without having Spider-Man already introduced. Like, I have no idea.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Hopefully, if this Venom movie works, hopefully we'll get a Carnage movie, because I feel like Carnage gets overlooked a lot.
Yeah. Definitely though. I think after this, to just introduce the symbiote and whatnot. But yeah, that would be very cool to see on the big screen. Mike, any final thoughts?
No, that pretty much said what I need to say about Venom.
Okay. Moving on then to another R-rated property, The Predator, that's shooting right now in Vancouver, Canada. A lot of leaked set photos came out that Fox surprisingly has not taken down that show us a pretty good glimpse of the Predators in the movie and what they're going to be wearing, and a surprise twist that they're actually working alongside the humans. So according to the leaked plot stuff for this movie, there's going to be some regular Predators that we've seen like in the past movies, and then there's going to be like some genetically enhanced kind of mutant things, and those are going to be the kind of villains of the movie, I guess. So that's something different for the franchise, I guess. I just had to see how it plays out. James, any thoughts though?
I think that'd be really interesting to see, because the only other movie that I can think of where the alien has really worked alongside human is Alien vs Predator.
Oh.
Because with the other movies, like, you know, they only like their only like interaction with the human is either killing them or giving them a gift of respect, particularly in Predator 2.
Yeah.
So it'll be really interesting to see. I'm really curious as to what these genetically enhanced predators are like what.
They're 10 foot tall, apparently.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, and that is interesting how they decided to keep the leaked photos up.
Yeah, Fox is usually stingy about that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, like, I think all we need now is a trailer, and I think we'll be in good hands. Hopefully.
Yeah. Well, trailer. I'm not betting on any footage this year because they're still filming the movie, obviously. But I think, yeah, I'm waiting for some more official reveals and stuff, especially like a plot synopsis or something. Antoine, any thoughts on the images here?
Yeah, I just, again, piggybacking off that, I wasn't expecting the Predators to work with the humans. And then especially off those leaked images, all the humans that, you know, have been revealed in the cast are still alive. So I don't know if they're just going to right off the gate say, like, oh, the Predators have been on Earth and they're going to be working with the humans or, like, whatever immediately. And then the movie's just going to build off that. I don't know what's the case. I'm confused. It makes me more intrigued, though. Like, I actually want to watch the movie more, knowing that, like, they're on each other's side. Because, like, that leaked photo was, like, the humans were laying down relaxed, but, like, the Predators were, like, holding the guns and, like, driving the vehicles. And, like, the Predators were wearing cargo pants. Yeah. So it's, like, how much are they in, like, human society? So I'm interested with that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Michael, any thoughts on this different direction for the Predator movie?
It definitely catches my interest. I think, like you mentioned it, Antoine, cargo pants on Predators, like, what? But it's also starting to make me think, like, is possibly, maybe not, the predators aren't, like, integrated with human society or whatever. Maybe the predator's suit, like a human's wearing them or something, or is a human controlling the predator via some sort of technology or something like that? I'm really interested to see if that may be the case. I also think that the point you mentioned, that is just early on in the film because they are alive, I could see that happening where they introduce this idea and then the other predators that are enhanced realize that the Mandem are getting used and then try and stop the humans. Like, I see that, like, happening towards the middle of the film. I'm excited.
Okay. I think Shane Black is really trying to do something unique with this film. I know a lot of people are going to be... It's funny, this is kind of like Alien Covenant in a way, where it's going to very much divide the kind of hardcore fan base, because it is something different. It's not just kind of a rehash of the first movies, or really any of the Predator movies that we've seen. It's just such a different kind of take on the material. And hopefully it works out. Hopefully it plays out well on screen. I'm definitely gonna assume that the movie's gonna look nice, because I think Larry Fong is the cinematographer. He did like Kong Skull Island and Batman vs Superman and everything. So I mean, he has a great visual style. And Shane Black's a very good writer. He has like really good like comedic and action stuff in his movies. So definitely looking forward to that. There are some things of concern for the movie, but all in all, it's something that's just so wild and out there that it could end up actually being good. But I think, that wraps up the talk on the Predator. So our final news topic that we have is that Power Rangers, the sequels, are probably not happening. Unfortunately, the movie kind of ended its box office run, domestically at least, under 100 million, which is a shame. And I think it opened in China to maybe a couple million, so that definitely chances are dead there. It still hasn't opened in Japan, though. I think it opens in July. But, Michael, are you bummed out that we're probably not going to get a continuation of the Power Rangers story?
I actually am, just a little bit, because although I think the movie definitely did have its issues, I found myself enjoying it more than I thought I would. And I saw the potential of them opening a sequel and what they could do, and I was kind of excited for it.
Yeah.
Just so they could make a better film and, improve on what they messed up on second time around, have these different villains, and because the chemistry, I think, in that film between the characters was awesome, and I wanted to see more of that. So it's a shame financially it's not doing the greatest to get that, but yeah.
Okay, Antoine, what do you think about this? No more Power Rangers.
Yeah, man, I'm kind of disappointed. I agree with the movie. Definitely wasn't the best thing in the world. But I did enjoy it for the most part, and I was hoping. I'm really surprised in China that it bombed. That's, I think, the biggest shock out of all of this. It's just how, like, it just didn't do well at all. But, yeah, I mean, you win some, you lose some. I just want that Beetleborgs movie. So, yeah.
Okay, James, what are your thoughts, though? No more Power Rangers movies for the time being.
Man, you guys pretty much said it. Like, I am kind of sad, because... Yeah, the movie is stupid, but at the same time, it was better than it had any right to be, in my opinion. Just like the character interactions, like especially the campfire scene. That was just like, wow, that is like you wouldn't expect that from a Power Rangers movie. And it was done really well. So I don't know what the deal is. I don't know if the Krispy Kreme stuff was too heavy-handed, or maybe that's why it failed in China, because there's no Krispy Kreme.
They don't have Krispy Kreme.
They don't have Krispy Kremes in China, so what are they gonna care? I mean, I was at least hoping, like, okay, maybe if they don't continue the story, maybe they'll do like another Power Rangers movie, like Power Rangers Lost Galaxy or In Space, or I don't know, something.
Yes. I'm honestly surprised that it didn't make more money. Like, just even domestically, like, I'm very shocked that like people didn't go to see it, because honestly, like, from the trailers and stuff, it seemed like there's a pretty good response to the movie so far. I mean, the direction obviously was a different direction than what people are used to of the Power Rangers in general, but I didn't think it would bomb that hard. It seemed odd. Like, it only made money really in like the first week or two, and then it just died. Like, just no one went and saw it. trying to think, what was the competition too? It came out at the end of March.
Beauty and the Beast.
Beauty and the Beast was a killer, man. That was a pretty
yeah,
heavy
but
hit.
even
That was the
that,
first
like that
bill in
seems
a
like a
while.
different audience or something. That's weird. I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess they're both like kids films. So
Well, I think also like I think Power Rangers. Well, because Beauty and the Beast I consider timeless. Power Rangers is definitely a product of its time, specifically the '90s. Like, I don't know. Power Rangers isn't as big as it was because I remember, growing up when Power Rangers was like the hottest thing out there, and now it's more a nostalgic curiosity. So.
Oh man, but yeah, I was very surprised too to see the box office for China. I was like, ooh man, 1 million opening.
Because a lot of people are like hoping on that to be the saving grace.
Well, really, China is surprisingly like I think this is like it's poised to become the biggest box office income, I guess, even bigger than the domestic box office.
Yeah,
I think in the next couple of years or something. I think that's what they're saying. But yeah, like. Man, when it flopped in China, I was like, oh man, yeah, that's dead. Like, no sequels, so that's a shame.
So hypothetically speaking, do you think if, let's say, Japan comes in and it doesn't kill at the box office, but it gets a good amount, you think?
I mean, it has to make like 100 to 200 million in Japan alone, and that's a super long shot. So, yeah, I would say it's done. It is sorry. No. But yeah, leave your thoughts down below. I guess if you guys were bummed out about. This version of the Power Rangers probably not getting a sequel, so but yeah, I think that's going to wrap up our news talk for this episode. We're going to move on to your viewer questions, so thanks again for submitting these with the hashtag AskHybridMovies. The first question comes to us from Kingest of Crimson. He says, do you guys think there's any particular reason video game movies have had a hard time being adapted into movies? Is it maybe the talent isn't passionate enough, or the games just don't translate well into the film medium story-wise? Michael, what do you think about this? Video game movies.
Yeah, that's a really good question as to why they don't translate so well. Part of me thinks I think it's a number of things. One, I think the track record previously, it kind of influences some people, like right off the bat. Two, I think some properties are just hard to translate from video game to on screen. I think a lot of studios sometimes choose the wrong properties to adapt at like the wrong times.
Yeah.
And I think when they try and like translate it, they don't do the best in terms of adapting and choosing the right story. Because sometimes if you're trying to take a video game, maybe not taking it verbatim is the best idea. Maybe just taking certain elements. And I think when it comes to the writing, and actors in the team. Have people who are really passionate and know what made the game so great and how they can make a great film out of it. Not just a great video game film, but just a great film, I think.
Okay. Yeah, the thing though is that there have been directors in the past, like the Resident Evil movies. The guy that directed it, Paul Anderson, he claimed to be a huge fan of the games, and obviously it's nothing like the games. So that's, I mean,
then it's also a balancing act too, right? It's a tricky thing, definitely.
Yeah, James, what do you think about this?
I think like when it comes to adapting video game movies, there seems to be a trade-off. Like, do you take like some of the source material and make it so that it appeals to everyone, or do you make it so that it only appeals to fans and thus doesn't generate the critical or commercial response you want? It seems very tricky. Like, I think it can be done, but it'd be very rare. Like with the case of Warcraft, for example, like that seemed like a movie that was catered to fans, but I think the benefit it had to that is that Warcraft has a huge fan base, especially in China, which is why I think that did well.
Because it made a good amount of money, no?
Yeah,
it did. Like China loves its Warcraft. And like with me personally, like I like video game movies when they're animated. Just something about animated video game movies that seems to click more, because it seems to be, because I think with animation, like they can make it look like the video games, so it's much more enjoyable to watch. Like the Final Fantasy movies, for example, not the Spirits Within, but I'm talking about like Advent Children or Kingsglaive, where even if it's not good, like from a movie story, from like a movie perspective, like if you're a fan of the franchise, you know, you're definitely going to get something out of it. And it seems kind of strange how, like, honestly, the best video game movie out there is Wreck-It Ralph.
Well, that's not a video. No, that doesn't. It's not an adaptation, though, right? Or...
No, but like,
no, it's not an adaptation.
But like when it comes to like including like all these like video game characters, like they'll throw them in for cameos, but at the same time, like what they were able to do, like what they were able to do with that movie was just like, I did not expect that to be as good as it was, but yeah, there you go. I mean, definitely a lot better than Pixels.
Oh man, yeah. Antoine, what do you think about the video game movies? Why aren't they working?
Yeah, I mean, again, like, I feel like Whole Night's just piggybacking off, but it's just, I feel like a lot of these movies, it's hard to adapt, and the studios get way too involved with a lot of this stuff, and especially some of these properties we've seen, they tried to make it way too serious, and it just doesn't fit. Or they try to change up the story completely, or even change out characters and put in new characters that aren't even a part of the game. And it's just like, what are you doing? So, I don't even know how it could even benefit from it. But I think James had a good point. I think I'd rather some of these movies might be better if they're just like CG animated, because I could see that for like, especially if they do like a live action Sonic or. Not live action, just like a film version of Sonic or like Mario or Pokemon or something like that. I feel like those are better set for those than live. Like, I can't see a live action Sonic. Like, what would Sonic look like? Like,
it would just be like a hedgehog just doing circles.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Like some of these you just
around.
can't. Especially these like video games that have like animal main characters. Like you just can't do. It's just not going to work out for you. But. Yeah, I'm waiting for that one good video game movie. I can't think of one, so I don't even know.
I think it's my thoughts really quickly. It's very difficult to like translate a video game experience into a 2-hour movie, and also a lot of the times the directors just go, it's difficult to. Do you serve the video game fans, or do you do something that appeals to everybody? It's like hard to nail a story down. Most of the time, too, they're doing an original story. They're not like actually adapting a game or storyline or something. So it's kind of that's another But I mean, Gears of War is coming to the big screen. Tomb Raider is coming out next March. I'm surprised Halo never got a movie because that would have just printed money. But what else? Call of Duty is supposedly getting a cinematic universe somehow.
Yeah, and I think James make a really good point too about the whole animated situation. We've mentioned Overwatch previously, because a lot of cut scenes and those 15-minute intros or whatever for certain games, they look awesome, and you always think to yourself, "Wow, this would be great as a movie," but it never ends up happening. And I think that could be a possibility in the near future that might be a little more successful. Also, like I think video game movies just need their hit, because a lot of older comic book movies, for example, they didn't really work all too well, and I think video game movies are almost in that same period where they just need that Iron Man or that what's another really good kind of older comic book movie that started the trend,
like The Dark Knight.
They need the Dark Knight, their Iron Man's, I think, to get people on board, and the creative people responsible for making them on board, like, okay, we can actually do these justice and make them good financially and with critics and fans.
Yeah, I think they can. It's just a lot of the times the filmmakers and stuff, they're not doing it correctly. They're like doing a strange story. They're just trying to, I don't know, there's so much like that's just at the story level that's not clicking correctly. So that's really, I don't know. I think there's a way that they could do it correctly though. Like a Halo movie would be fairly easy to do in my opinion, and stuff like that, Mass Effect, etc., etc. But yeah, I think that is going to wrap up this episode of Hybrid Movies. So thanks for checking out episode 20. And if you want to leave your questions again for next episode, just drop them down below with the hashtag AskHybridMovies. And if you want to follow me on social media to tweet at me questions or just talk about stuff in general, you can find me on Twitter at who's_Nick. Michael, where can people find you?
Yeah, you guys can follow me over on Twitter and Instagram at Failwell34. And of course, you can check out my own YouTube channel at Failwell34 as well.
All right, awesome, James.
Folks, you can find me on Twitter at Hair Beverage. That's where I'll be.
All right, cool. And Antoine?
You can find me on Twitter and YouTube at EarthEagleGT. So, yeah.
All right, cool. So with all that said, we'll catch you guys in the next one.
Until next time.
Peace.